Alright, so this demo I'm going to be going over roofs. We've got a couple roof types, and there's a couple technical things, so I'm going to be going over those and kind of highlighting them pretty specifically. So, same structure I have from the previous lecture, I just kind of cleaned it up a bit. I've got my walls, floor, and I have a ceiling right here in the middle. So, to place the ceiling, to place a roof on here, I'm going to click on the roof button. And it's going to ask me where I want to create it, just because sometimes usually like you've got level 1 selected, I think is what happened for me there. And so it's going to ask you if you want to move it to another level. So I'm going to say, yeah, we'll move it to level 2 here. And then what it's going to do is it's going to kind of highlight, let me see if I can find it here, um, the area of the floor that we can work in. And then again, we get a lot of the same tools. The option here is to create an overhang, and so one of the ways I can do this is I can set the overhang to say 2 feet, which is kind of standard for a residential building. And then I can just click on these walls because there is a boundary line option. So I can click on that wall, and just as a real basic thing, I've got 4 of these lines now, and I can hit the green check mark and it builds a roof. So, dirt simple, right? Okay, so let's go back to the roof here. I've got it selected. I can choose edit footprint, and this will let me go back and edit the options. So you see these little tiny angle things right here that are on these? What those do is those say, hey, this is part of the angle of the roof here. If you were to select those and then uncheck defines roof slope right here, it's going to get rid of those little angles, and when I apply this, you can see that it kind of has this shape right here to it. All right. So one of the things you do anytime you create a roof is any exterior wall that would go up into that roof, you want to select, and then you're going to click, let's see, I always get it wrong, should be attached top base, and then click on the roof right there, and that will actually get those to fill in that gap between your roof and your walls that would have previously not gone up. Typically, I say don't click on that when that option comes up. Generally don't, just only when you're building a roof. Now, let's go back to the roof again. So, if I want to adjust the angle my roof is at, I can click on this thing right here, and I can manually drag this around, and you can see that it automatically adjusts all the things that are going on here. I can also come over here and I can set the slope. So the slope is always going to be out of 12. Can you actually change that? No. Ooh, no. Go back here. I don't think you could change it 12. Um, so let's say I want a 312 roof, pretty standard for a lot of older homes in California. I think a 512 is pretty standard for a lot of new stuff these days, which looks about right. um, so yeah, you can go in and set a bunch of different heights for those. If you want to have just one of those like kind of shed roofs, you can only have one of these selected. So if I was to remove that right there, now I've got only one roof is determining the slope of this, and in that case I really want to kind of bring this down so it isn't super sloped. Um, so that's how you would basically set up the slope and then the edges of your roof. Now, if I wanted this to come back in, because I don't want, for this shed roof, I don't want these that far out. Again, you can just kind of choose options, move around the building, um, and change the settings. Then if I wanted a longer overhang here, I could change that out to say like 4 foot, which is handy because it's referencing that. And there we go. There's that slope of the roof right there. So, just like with other things where you're working with a profile in Revit, you can come back in and also put another hole in it. And that's going to, oh, what did I just do? Oh, shoot, I know what I did. Okay, so, it's because that came in with all those slope defining angles there. That should fix that. Okay, so now I've got that hole in my roof. This may not be ideal if you want to put in a skylight. That's not how you would add in a skylight. This is more how you would have, say, let's just close that. We'll go here. Let's say I've got some kind of, we'll do this for level 2. So let's say instead I've got some kind of weird, like, series of, like, shapes that make a little pathway. I don't know, we're just spitballing here. Okay, so with that whole series, I can uncheck defines roof slope. Oh, it doesn't want me to do that anymore. Okay, fine. That might take multiple roofs then. So, never mind on that one. But if I did want to have... there we go. If I did want to have something where for some reason I've got cutouts, I really need to turn this off and check that right there. So for some reason I wanted some kind of walkway. Oops. Oh, go away. That had holes in it for whatever reason. And then obviously I can also go in here and I can choose these, and I can use the rotate tool to kind of line them up better with whatever else is going on there. So you can modify this in all kinds of weird, crazy different ways, and then, you know, throw some columns in there to create that. So that's roof. If you do want a skylight, skylights are actually, I believe they're under Windows. It's been a while since I've done a skylight. I kind of glossed over this in another demo, or one of the earlier demos, but in case you want to load a family in Revit, so this is how you get in additional doors and windows, you would go to load family once you have the thing clicked. So remember, I'm on architecture, I click on window, load family, and then let's see, windows, and let's do, that works. I'll just do a 2 foot by 2 foot. And then sometimes they're a little bit sketchy. Oh, I see it. It's because it's gray on gray. Okay, right there. And it might be easier to place in this view. No, not really. And I was hoping it would give me an alignment of some kind, and it's not. Anyway, so that's how you could place different skylights in it in case you wanted an actual skylight in your ceiling. Now, again, we kind of run into that same issue I've been going on and about, where if you have an area like this where you have your ceiling, but then you'd have skylights up here, now you've got to create a way for those skylights to actually put their light through. So in that case, you'd want to have some kind of gap right here in your ceiling, and then again, you'd want to come through with another series of walls that would be, stop that, there we go, okay, architecture wall, and then we'll set the base constraint to level 1, nope, level 1, 8 foot I think is what that is, and then again we'll do attach top base, and that'll create kind of like a nice gap right there to allow those skylights to shine through if I didn't do anything else with the ceiling. Again, I could also come in here and instead of putting a gap like that in the ceiling, there we go, okay. What was I, oh right, I was going to do the slope of the ceiling, which I'm probably going to get backwards, and yeah, I did, okay. Add a boundary, and we'll do slope, height at head, it's going to be 2 feet, height at tail, 1 foot, and then come in here and just, if I had these a little bit tighter, let's see, and then I could just kind of wiggle this in a position. It wouldn't be graceful, but I could do that. I'm convinced I can. So do 1 foot 6, and then Let's do 4 foot, maybe. Ooh, almost. Was that about 2 inches? Yeah, anyway, yeah. So I could come in and just kind of fudge the roof, or fudge the ceiling rather, to get in just the right position, or I could just adjust the roof a little bit, just so that I've got all these things kind of lined up correctly. Nope. Oh, boo. Alright, it's being a pain. Whatever. Where is it? Okay. 3 foot 10. What happened there? I did something. 3 foot 10. Not quite close enough for demos. Alright, so that's another way where if I had these kind of filling up that space better, I would accept kind of just putting a hole in the ceiling itself and getting the ceiling oriented directly with the roof itself for that space. So, that's roofs. Oh, and then I might as well just kind of do the levels themselves without doing a separate lecture. So anytime you're working on a project and you need extra levels, by default the template we're working with is going to come in with 2 levels, level 1 and level 2. Anytime you need to adjust the level, you can click on it and you can drag it up or down, and that will change that height. And that kind of probably did something weird with that. See how that kind of just shifted massively around. So that's why sometimes attaching these exterior, no, 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 I don't want to do that. Attaching the exterior walls to the roof can help adjust for those sorts of things. So there are strategic times when you do want to make those joins, but generally you don't. Again, I can drag it down. Dragging left and right isn't going to matter. It's just going to kind of drag that little handle right there. Anytime you want to move the handles themselves, usually I kind of like them being a little bit further in. There's a little tiny circle. You can just barely see it right there. If I click on this one, you can see it right there, and you can drag this in. That's a little bit more helpful later on when we're going to be getting into construction documents, and being able to adjust those kind of in a space that works for you better. So if I want another level, I can just click on it, Control C, Control V, and then paste it in at the height I need it to come in at. And then you can see here that this one is actually going to be black, like it's got this black color on it while the other ones are blue. That means that there's no level generated for it over here in the floor plans. So what I want to do is I want to go to View at the top, and then I want to click on Plan Views, Floor Plan, and here's the level 3 for the floor plan. And it has this checkmark that says do not duplicate existing views, so you can duplicate existing views through this menu. We'll be going over that kind of when we get into construction documents though. But for now I just want a level 3 view, so I'll click OK. And then I also want a ceiling plan view, so I'll go to the same menu, reflected ceiling plan, level 3. And so now here in the ceiling plans and here in the floor plans I have all 3 of those levels. I think that's it. Okay, right. I forgot one other thing too. With this project, you are going to need columns. So to create a column under architecture, column, and then your options are right here. And then you can get different types. There's an architectural and a structural. The architectural is going to be kind of just different kind of square shapes. You can load some in. So if I go to the load family, oops, no, I went too far out. Shoot. Let's see, columns. There we go. And then usually they're just click to place. And then some of your options here are going to be, oh, there we go. Okay. How high they go. So let's take this one up to level 3. And some will stretch on segments like that, others won't. So it just kind of depends on the column. And then again, I can change my offsets. So maybe I don't want it to go quite that high. So that's columns. That's kind of like a fancy column, whereas a structural and is going to be more like, oh, don't do slanted, do vertical. Okay, there we go. So sometimes when you place them, okay, let me go over some of the errors that just all popped up all at once. So this right here is setting the work plane. Um, if this comes up, it's because you're in a sideways or 3D view. Um, Usually you just want to hit cancel because you just don't want to place it like that. So that was that error. Uh, when you place these, it also gave me the warning that it wasn't in the current work plane. That's just because I was working in level 1 right here when I placed this, and you can see right here in the uh, elevation view that this is actually going to be below your level 0, or sorry, your level 1. So if I wanted this to come up to my ground level, I could set the top offset to level 2, and then I could set level 1 to 0. It's just because these are designed to be kind of like for piers where you would dig way down, put that in there, fill it with concrete, and now you've got a structural support for a building. So that's why those start way down there for the structural ones, and then you can make them come up as high as you need. Because what we're doing generally, we're going floor up instead of bedrock up. So um, that's columns. That should be everything for this project. I will get the project itself posted soon. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you in it.